Rock and Road Pod, MCN London Motorcycle Show Special.
Hello, this is Leona Graham. Welcome to the podcast. This is episode 7 of the 4th series. And today's episode is an MCN Motorcycle Show Special. I speak to Emma Franklin from MCN about exactly what the London Motorcycle Show is all about. I chat to professional motorcycle racer Peter Hickman. I talk to a band who are most likely responsible for the mix of metal and biking, Saxon. We hear from my son Dexter all about my motorbike and what's actually happened to it, if you haven't heard, and I'll give you the update on that. And you can win tickets to the MCN Motorcycle Show. If you're listening to this show before midnight on the 31st of January, follow me on Instagram to find out more at Leona Graham DJ. But first, let's talk to Emma Franklin.
Rock and Road Pod, MCN London Motorcycle Show Special.
Please welcome to the podcast Emma Franklin from MCN. Emma, how are you?
I'm really good, Leona. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. And this is an MCN Motorcycle Show special.
Oh, I know.
So I thought who better to ask and give us a sort of description of what the show is all about than our Emma. So Can you tell us what is it all about?
Well, I can, yeah, if I can remember, so we can cast our minds back to 2020, which was the last time it happened. So, yeah, we're raring to go because we've obviously not had it for a year. So, MCN basically takes over the London Excel Centre and we've crammed the place full of, like, must-see biking things to do, bikes to see, biking celebrities from across touring, from across adventure riding, from across sport, you know. Everyone's going to be there, and there's just like, you know, it's just like rocks up your February basically. So we've got like all the hottest new 2022 models from Yamaha, Ducati, Honda, BMW, Indian, Kawasaki, Suzuki, CCM, Triumph. I think the Langan is going to be there as well. So there's loads of cool bikes for you to do the all important sit down test on, you know, try them out for size, and then one for anyone who's a massive Valentino Rossi fan, which we all are, really. So the show organisers, we've managed to get a bunch of his championship winning bikes together all in one place, and this is like, I don't think it's ever happened before, or if it has, you know, it might not happen again. So we've got his championship winning bike, his very, very first one, so the factory Aprilia 125 from 97, and then we've got his Aprilia 250 from 99, and then we've got his 4-stroke championship winning bikes from Yamaha. So we've got a bunch of M1s from 2004 and 2005 and 2008 and 2009, so they'll be all on display for you to like get your Instagram pictures of. And I think the stand itself has got people interviewed, so Rossi's like key personnel who helped him win those championships, so you'll learn a little bit about actually what it took to help Rossi win those championships with those bikes. So it's going to be amazing.
That is just pretty spectacular in itself, isn't it?
I mean, they're such special bikes, aren't they? And to be so close to them, I mean, you won't be able to sit on them or anything like that. They'll be behind ropes, obviously, because they're priceless, but you'll be able to get good enough pictures of them to wow your friends.
But there are loads of bikes you can sit on and try out, aren't there?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So I think we've got some new Yamahas being launched there, so there'll be some special UK bikes that haven't come out there. So you'll be able to have a sit down and try them out for size and pick which one you're going to spend your money on this year, hopefully, if you're lucky.
And on my podcast, I'm going to be speaking to Peter Hickman, and he's going to be doing something there as well. Can you tell us about that? Oh,
yeah. So it's not just static displays at the show. We've got our live action special, which takes place right in the middle of the hall, and it's called King of the Roads this year. So we've got 2 team captains. We've got John McGuinness is one of them, and we've got Peter Hickman, and they've got a bunch of young championship winning riders who are on their teams, and basically they go head to head on like this indoor short track arena, which they've called like a TT course this year. I think it's even got a jump like Bala Bridge, so you'll be able to see these legends of motorcycling going sort of elbow to elbow around this indoor arena, and you know, they don't leave, they put it all out there. You know, this isn't for show, these guys are racers and they all want to win. So yeah, it's really, really good. So
it sounds like a really good sort of day out, isn't it? I mean, it's over the weekend of the 11th to 13th of February, so you can go on the Friday, Saturday or Sunday.
That's right, yeah. And it's sort of 19 quid for adults, and I think kids under 15 go free. But we're doing something called a paddock pass, which for £40, it gets you into the show and it gets you a grandstand seat to watch, the King of the Roads indoor action arena. And then it also gets you sort of VIP access to the riders as well. So you'll be able to sort of meet and chat with the riders like John McGuinness and Peter Hickman and all the other guys like Charlie Nesbitt, Danny Webb, Chrissy Rouse, and we've got the Neve brothers as well. So if you're a fan of racing, you don't want to miss out. Oh, we also throw in a Valentino Rossi special glossy sort of bookazine, which is worth £10 on its own, so it's really good value.
Did you say bookazine?
Bookazine, yeah.
I've not heard that before.
Yeah,
okay.
it's a phrase we use. Not a magazine, not a book.
Okay.
It's sort of like a lovely glossy sort of, it's really nice, really nice.
That is fantastic. And will we see you down there, Emma?
Yeah, I'm hoping to be there on the Saturday and the Sunday, so yeah, I'll be there with my MCN t-shirt, so come and say hello.
Fantastic. All right, well, we can't wait, and thank you so much for the update from MCN.
It's brilliant, thank you.
This is the Rock and Road Pod, MCN London Motorcycle Show Special.
Welcome to the podcast, Peter Hickman, professional motorcycle racer. Hi, Peter, how are you?
I'm good, thank you very much, Leona. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. So my podcast is for not necessarily all and out bikers that listen. So can you explain a bit about what you do?
Yeah, it's quite simple, really. I race motorbikes round and round in circles. No, I race in the British Superbike Championship all across the UK. So iconic tracks such as Silverstone, Donington, Cadwell Park, Alton Park, Brands Hatch.
Oh, yeah.
Amongst many others, of course. And then I also race in some of the big international road races. So the Northwest 200 in Northern Ireland, the Ulster Grand Prix in Northern Ireland, Macau Grand Prix, obviously in Macau through the city, which is a really unusual and classic race. It's been going for a long time. And then
the Isle of
probably
Man?
the last one is the Isle of Man TT.
Oh.
So that one's been going for over 100 years now. So that's the most probably iconic one that everybody's probably heard of, whether they're into bikes or not.
Yeah, we'll come on to that because that is legendary. But I just want to ask, how did you get started in racing?
Well, my dad actually used to race in back in the 70s, before I was born, might I add. But I still grew up around it. So when he finished racing, he became a development engineer and a mechanic for lots of different teams in the Grand Prix paddock and also in the British Superbike paddock. So right from being a kid, I grew up around it all and always wanted to race. He never wanted me to race at all, so wouldn't let me have a bike or anything. So I bought my own when I was 12 without telling him, with my own pocket money, and hid it around the back of the house.
You didn't?
Yeah, so that's how
did
it
you
all
get
started.
away with that? Did he find out in the end?
Yeah, it took about 3 weeks, but I eventually got a very stern telling off.
Did he let you keep it?
Yeah, he did actually, yeah. Once he kind of got over it and got over his anger, he decided he wanted to help and show me the right direction rather than let me do all the mistakes that he made when he started, because he did it all by himself.
It was obviously a natural progression with him doing it and then you moving into it as well. And now you're with FHO Racing.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so with I raced with FHO Racing in 2021, which is a new team. Team owner is Feiho, who is from Macau.
Yes, I had her on the podcast a year ago, actually. She's fantastic. She's instrumental in the support of women bikers as well, isn't she?
Yeah, she is, absolutely. And last year, 2021, was the first time she'd ever run her own team. So she's been involved a little bit with teams, helping a little bit out here and there and everywhere, bit of sponsorship and stuff. But last year, she actually ran her own team for the first time. So very big experience, lots of new stuff for her. And she's ended up helping out 3 girls now she sponsors in the sport that are up and coming, as well as myself and a few of the other riders as well.
Yeah, she's doing so well, and you've re-signed with her again this year, and you had a good year last year. What's new for 2022 for you?
Well, finally, hopefully, the road racing's back on. So the Isle of Man TT, the Northwest, the Ulster, looks like they're all now going to be back on this year, which they haven't been for the last 2 years. So it's been 3 years since we've been to the Isle of Man. So finally, we hopefully get to go around the most iconic race in the world.
So for anyone listening that doesn't know what the Isle of Man race is, can you explain it to us for a new listener?
In layman's terms?
Yeah.
Sure, no worries at all. The Isle of Man is a little island in between the UK and an island in the middle of the Irish Sea. and we basically race around the closed roads. So they close off nearly 38 miles worth of normal A roads, all pretty much all the way across the island. It's only a small island, maybe I think about 55 miles top to bottom, and only probably about 30 across. But the track itself is 37 and three-quarter miles around. The race has been going for over 110 years. And so we race around completely normal roads. So it's not a racetrack. It just turns into a racetrack. So they close the roads off and we
How long
race
do they
around
close
it.
them for?
It depends. So we have 2 weeks worth of practice and racing. So there's a week of practice, a week of racing. The roads aren't closed for all that time, of course, because most people need to get to work and stuff
I
like
was
that.
going to say.
But they normally close off for probably about 3 or 4 hours at a time.
So if you live there, you've got to embrace it, really, haven't you? You couldn't not like it.
Absolutely. Motorsport is a massive part of the Isle of Man. So
Okay.
if you live on the Isle of Man and don't like motorsport, you're in the wrong country.
Yeah, because a friend of mine was saying that, literally the end of your front path, there'll be motorbikes whizzing past at like hundreds of miles an hour. It's just crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the most amazing thing about it, really. If no one's ever been, you need to go and watch, because you can actually stand on a roadside and watch a bike pass you at nearly 200 miles an hour. I mean, the most I've been clocked at through the speed trap at Sulby is 196, but it's not necessarily the fastest place on the course. There are a couple of places where we do touch just over 200 mile an hour on a normal A road.
That's just mental, isn't it, really? Do you
Yeah,
have the
it
lap
is.
record?
I do, yeah. So I actually have the lap record for the outright lap record for the Isle of Man TT, which was an average speed of 135.4 miles an hour.
Amazing. So the Isle of Man's coming up, and when is that exactly?
The Isle of Man's always the end of May and beginning of June. So we say we get a week of practice and then a week of racing.
Bet you can't wait to get back out there.
No, can't wait at all. So I've got 6 classes that I'm entering this year as well. So I'm not just racing the super bike. I race the super stock bike, the super sport bike, and the lightweight bike. So it should be good.
Going back to British Superbikes, can you take the fight to Yamaha this year?
That's definitely the plan. We had a really strong year last year. We were the top BMW team in the British Superbike Championship. We beat the official BMW team, if you like, because we are a private team at the end of the day. We had a couple of wins. I had a few podiums, and we finished 5th in the championship. We weren't that far away, to be quite honest. We actually went into the last round of the championship with a mathematical chance of still winning, which is really cool. I think it was a massive achievement for a brand new team. So this year, obviously, we want to build on that, and we want to be aiming for beating everyone.
Now, can you tell us about Ovali?
Yeah, I am the UK importer for Ovali. Ovali is an Italian motorcycle manufacturer that make mini GP bikes, is the best way to describe them. So they're in between a mini moto and what you see on the Moto 3 grid in World Championship. So we have, they're available for kids from kind of 7-8 years old upwards. Along with the British Mini Bikes Championship, I've set up a couple of kids championships in the UK, which we didn't have. And they all have to run the same bike, the same tyres, the same engines that are sealed, so nobody can touch them, apart from my company that does engine rebuilds, to basically try and make a really fair class in the UK.
Yeah.
Keep the rules pretty stock. We have a 110cc class and a 160cc class. And like the 160cc class at the minute, it's really taken off with the FIM's been involved, which is they are the governing body of all motorcycle sport in the world. They ran a championship last year where all the national championships could run their own championship, and then the top 3 the top 3 of each of them national championships went to Spain, and then got an all expenses paid basically weekend racing in front of all the MotoGP stars, which was awesome. And these were all kids between 10 and 14.
Brilliant. I mean, do you see it as a way of bringing talented kids through into the professional side eventually?
Yeah, that's the whole point of it, really. It was I wanted to develop a championship that we need, I think, in the UK, and that wasn't there when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic that you're doing that and contributing in that way. Can you tell us about the MCN London show?
Yeah, the MCN London show is now at the XL. Used to be down at the Ali Pali originally, but now it's at the XL. Been at the XL for a good few years now, and I've had a stand there the last couple of years, and I'm going to go back there with a stand again this year. So I've got a PHR Performance. I have a performance bike centre, if you like, so one-stop shop pretty much for anything to do with bikes.
And And will
So, yeah,
Ovali
there'll
be there as well? This a showcase for the Ovali side as well?
Yes, I will be. Yeah, so there'll be Ovali bikes there. There'll be PHR performance bikes there, showing what we can do as a company. There'll be all my own personal merchandise that I do for everybody, and then me and McGuinness are going head to head with a teams race. We're going to have our own teams, and we do a bit of flat track racing in the middle of the whole arena, which will be quite cool.
Oh, really? Is that any particular time that we should take note of?
As far as I'm aware, we're going to be racing every single day, so about 3 or 4 times a day. So
Oh, okay.
if you're going, you'll see it.
We've got a good chance of seeing it. Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Okay, well, it was absolutely lovely to meet you and chat to you and to find out more about what you do as a professional motorcycle racer. Good luck with all the races this year, and we will look out for you at the London show.
No worries. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you too.
Rock and Road Pod, MCN London Motorcycle Show Special.
So, Dexter, come and join me on the podcast and tell everybody what's been happening.
We went to Brighton. 2 people stole our bike.
On motorbike, yeah.
Yeah. And somehow they dodged a car coming past, and somehow they broke the chain lock in seconds, and somehow they got the motorbike in 1 minute. Isn't that impossible, right?
Well, that's what I would have thought. Now, I've got CCTV, so we were able to capture the entire theft on 3 different cameras.
They stole it. They put the motorbike into a yellow van, and some people are investigating, and they were very skilled, high skilled. They had gloves, everything, no evidence.
Yeah, they had their gloves on. They were wearing masks. Weirdly, one of them was wearing sliders. He was literally stealing a motorbike in flip-flops. I think they were quite young. And as a car went down the road, they dived behind my fence. So they just seemed very professional. They knew exactly what they were doing. They got in and out within 1 minute to steal the motorbike. I'd seen them, rewinding the cameras, I'd seen them go past in their yellow van 5 minutes beforehand to check it all out. They'd come in to see what the bike was like, and then they came back 5 minutes later to do the actual robbery. So it's very well executed. Now, I did get a call from the police at the weekend, or Honda did, to say that the bike has been found. What we don't know at this stage is what condition the bike is in. A passerby had contacted the police for whatever reason and said, this bike looks like it's stolen, which suggests to me it's just been left in a ditch somewhere or something. So I don't know what state the bike is in, and I will keep you posted on that. The other weird thing is that there was no tracking on it. Now, it has got a tracker, but the way they disabled the tracker so quickly is what has also astounded me. We've got a notification to say the bike was being moved initially, but then nothing after that. As soon as they got it into their van, that was it. The tracker was off. So, fast work, but we will catch them. The bike's been found. We know the colour of the van. We know the make of the van. It's a yellow Ford Transit Custom. And if you want to keep up to date with the drama of my stolen motorbike, follow me on Twitter at Leona Graham. Dexter, have you got anything else to add this week?
Yes.
Go on.
I accidentally got COVID somehow in school, but I'm amazed. I'm all right, but this morning I felt a little bit bad, a little bit dizzy, but I'm still all right if anyone's caring about me.
Oh, darling, of course we are. And if you're wondering how I'm talking to him in the vicinity of a studio right now, let's just say that Dexter and COVID and isolation are not things that go very well together, are they, Dexter?
No.
You've not done very well at keeping away from everybody in our family. And we tried to shut you in a room. How long did that last?
About 30 minutes.
Yeah, and we tried to say, stop breathing on us, stop touching us. And how have you managed that?
I'll give that 5%.
Yeah, 5%. All right then. Well, thank you for joining us on the podcast this week.
No, I got one thing.
Oh, go on. What?
On this Friday, I accidentally knocked my face into a door and my tooth fell out and I got £1. Very amusing. Bye.
From the Tooth Fairy. Yes, he did. He got his Tooth Fairy pound. So I'll keep up to date on the motorbike, and that's it from Dexter this week. Now, moving on to the next part of the podcast, which is music. We've done motorbikes, but now music which actually overlaps rather well into motorbikes, because this band can be described as the link between biking and music, and certainly heavy metal, in the first place. It's Saxon. please welcome Biff Byford of Saxon. Hi there, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you okay?
Yes, all good, thank you. So you've got a new album out on the 4th of February. Can you tell us about your new album?
Well, I can try to, yeah. I mean, it's our 23rd album, which is, pretty good to say. We've been together since, 1979? So, yeah.
Yes, that's quite
23
lots of albums. I think it's fair to say you've had a lot of albums out. So this one's called Carpe Diem.
Yeah, Carpe Diem, which means seize the day in Latin. So I figured that was a pretty good title for an album, considering what we've all been through the last 2 years.
Yes, was it relating to everyone's experience? I know you've been, you were ill as well just before COVID, weren't you?
Yeah, we sort of wrote it before COVID, but I didn't write the lyrics until we were well into it. So I hadn't really settled on song titles and lyrics. We just had, bits of music really before COVID happened. So it was, a lot of the titles were influenced by being in lockdown, I suppose.
Yes, the new single, particularly Remember the Fallen. Can you tell us what that one's about?
Well, it's basically a song about COVID, really. I mean, it's one of the last songs I wrote. So, I was a bit torn between should I do it or should I not do it, or should I sing a song about COVID? But I thought, yeah, let's do it. We're still, everybody around the planet's been through this together. So I just thought I'd do a song to remember the people that have died, really, because of this, ugly little virus thing.
And are you back in full health now?
Yeah, I'm pretty good now, thanks. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. The new album, I like one review which said, not lacking in pace or bite. How would you describe it?
I would say it's, we wanted to make it sort of, a lot of sort of energy in the album and a positive album. So I think that's really what we wanted, keep the aggression on the fast songs. Start every song with a great guitar riff. That was the mentality behind the album. So yeah, I would say heavy and energetic. I would say the album is.
Are you the main lyric writer?
I'm the only lyric writer, so I get pretty much carte blanche to do what I want. Really, I'm the only singer as well. None of the other guys really, sing. Well, they might be fantastic singers, but I've never heard them sing. So so.
You keep all the singing to yourself and all the lyrics. I mean, how do you come up with lyrics after 23 albums?
Well, it's hard not to get sort of lethargic and just write the same old stuff. But yeah, I like to think of new subjects. Some subjects come along, like COVID, that wasn't there before. I'll go to history. There's some great sort of inspirational things happened in history. So I'll write about that sometimes, and I'll just write about life in general, really. So I'm always thinking of ideas and jotting things down in my little black book.
Oh, that's brilliant. I was going to ask if you had a little notebook, especially.
Well, it's a little brown book, actually. But yeah, a little leather book, yeah.
Any tracks on the new album that are relating to history or any of the other themes that you've just mentioned?
Yeah, a lot of them. Carpe Diem is Seize the Day. It's about a Roman wall across the north of England, Hadrian's Wall. Age of Steam is about the Industrial Revolution. Things like that, really.
How do you decide the track order?
I just try and make it flow from track to track. So it's taking you on a bit of a journey and not everything sounds the same, I just like to change the mood of how you listen to the album.
Yes.
Although if you stream it, you can stream it in any order you want. But unless you're Adele, she actually, got them to do it. So you can only stream it in that order, which is actually not a bad thing. But,
I don't think that's a bad thing either, because I like listening to an album in a specific order, and I think that's completely lost now.
Yeah, it is lost, and I think probably Adele did a good thing there.
It's an experience, isn't it? And I think the order of the tracks is part of that experience.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time getting the order right, and I suppose, things like Spotify just destroy that work, really.
Yes, and my son was in his room the other day, he's 12 years old, and I said, what are you listening to? And he said, my playlist on Spotify. And I'd said to him, look, why don't you listen to these albums I've given you, trying to make him listen to some CDs I've given him? Because I said, you're not going to learn about any new album tracks. You're only going to keep playing the songs that you already know. So I'm trying to encourage him to listen to albums, because you can find some real gems on albums, can't you?
Yeah, you can. You can find some real hits. I mean, you know, sometimes, you know, the song that said the record company pick a single, you know, sometimes people pick their own single that becomes the main track of the album. You find that all the time when you play songs live. You know, people are always asking to play another song live.
Yeah.
And that other song becomes the biggest song on the album sometimes.
And over all the albums you've had over all these years, it's this hard question. Would you be able to pick a favourite album of yours?
You mean apart from the new one?
Yes, apart from the new one. Yeah.
I think my favourite album from the 80s of ours would be Denim and Leather. It's like 1981, right in that peak period where, you know, us and Motorhead and Judas Priest and Whitesnake and Maiden were all on TV and on the radio all the time. So that was a big moment. So I remember, you know, that album being a great album for us.
And here we are now in 2022 with your 23rd album. It's quite an achievement. Are you going to be going on tour?
We're planning to go on the Carpe Diem, Seize the Day World Tour this year sometime. I mean, there's still heavy COVID restrictions across some parts of the world. So we have to sort of take it all carefully, step at a time. But yeah, we're definitely going to be touring the UK later in the year. And we have a lot of festivals to do as well that were cancelled from 2 years ago. So we're pretty busy through the summer across Europe. Not so much in the UK, but across Europe, we're doing lots of festivals. But quite a lot of people travel to these European festivals because some of these festivals have huge bills, you know, massive bills that you don't really see at festivals much. I mean, maybe Download is probably the biggest, I would say, rock metal festival. They have quite a good bill, but some of the ones in Europe have massive bills.
Now, my actual podcast is about motorcycles and music. So I just want to ask you about your motorcycle life. Are you still riding?
Yeah, I was still riding up to about a month ago, and I sold my motorcycles up to a month ago. But I mean, you know, in the 80s, we were always known as a sort of biker band because of songs like Motorcycle Man and you know, things like that, really. So we had a big following in the biking world back then, and still do, I think.
Do you think you started the connection between biking and heavy metal?
Yeah, I think probably in England, one of the forefront ones. I think, you know, in America, it's different. There was quite a few bands like, you know, Steppenwolf and things that were quite bikerish, you know. But yeah, I think we put bikes on our album cover. You know, I don't think anybody did that before then. There's quite a few pop songs, you know, like motorbiking things, but I don't think there was any real heavy rock songs. I mean, I think Montrose had Bad Motor Scooter track.
Yeah.
It was a pretty cool track, but we don't really like scooters in lyrics, where, you know, in H's. So we put motorcycles in there. You know, we were rockers, not mods, basically. So
yes, there was quite a difference.
Thing, you know, yeah.
And you said that you've sold your bikes now. Are you giving up biking or?
No, I just sold them for winter. I had an Harley Davidson that I sold, a Springer Softail, and I had a Saxon bike that I had in 1980. Used to go on the road with it and put it on stage sometimes, and somebody found it thrown into a back garden. So I bought it off the guy and I restored it, and I sold it. Yeah, some lucky guy bought it off me.
That's so cool.
Months ago. I'll probably get another one come spring. You know.
Will you stick with the Harley Davidson?
I like Harley Davidsons. My Saxon bike was a Goldwing.
Lovely.
1100. Yeah, I like Harleys. I do like Harleys. I think if you're going great distances, you need something like a Goldwing or something like that. The Harleys are much lower center of gravity.
Yeah,
you just sit lower. I just think a little bit cooler to ride. They feel a bit cooler to ride for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, I do like a Triumph. But, you know, I'm 6'1", so you know that when I had Triumphs back in the day, I used to have a Bonneville and a Thunderbird. Yes. I was always a bit too big on them. You know, my knees always seemed to be under my chin. So I sort of wanted something a bit bigger, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I always went more for the bigger Harleys or the bigger Goldwings. I mean, I had great fun on the Goldwing. They're fantastic bikes. Really, really reliable.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for chatting to us here.
Yeah.
And really, really great to hear from you. And we can't wait to hear more from the album. That's on February the 4th. And good luck with your live dates.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been great talking to you, and yeah, see you on the road sometime.
Love to.
You're listening to the MCN London Motorcycle Show special of the Rock and Road Pod.
Good to hear Saxon on the podcast this week, wasn't it? And great to hear from Emma Franklin and Peter Hickman all about the MCN London Motorcycle Show, which is the 11th to the 13th of February. And if you're listening to this show before midnight on the 31st of January 2022, you can still win tickets. Follow me on Instagram to find out how, at Leona Graham DJ. And if you want to bump into me down at the London Motorcycle Show, I'm going to be there on this Saturday, the 12th of February. So if you do see me, feel free to come and say hi. I will have my podcast microphone with me, so I may very well end up interviewing you for this very podcast. Catch you soon. This has been the Rock and Roll Podcast.